What's up, everybody? It's Friday night. Look at this motherfucker.
Wow.
Right off the
dropping
bat.
off the F-bombs, starting right off.
That's right.
Hello. That was the most boring opening I've ever seen.
Really? Wow. Should I do it again? Should I try again? Yeah. Good morning, Rhode Island.
I meant the actual opening of the video.
Wow, really?
Wow. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Wow. So, welcome to Jason's last time on the show. Ever.
I'd say first, but I've been on it before.
Yeah, you have been. You have been. Oh, we got some people coming in. Carolyn, Terry, Bob, Diane. Damn it, Bob. That's where we get Damn it, Bob. I have a Damn it, Bob t-shirt. Because, yeah. There. Wow. There's a whole bunch. Hey, what's up going on?
Barbara. Hello.
So tonight is open mic night, traveling edition, obviously, because I'm not at home. I'm not in my office. I'm somewhere at an undisclosed secret location. Kind of secret. You got to be on the inside circle to know where I am.
Warwick, Rhode Island.
It's secret like Batman's cave. So yeah, we're hanging out here. I'm going to put the rules up so we can go through some rules before we get started. I have not pre-gamed enough.
No, he is not.
What the hell?
Obviously.
I need to drink a little bit more, I think, in order to get going. I'm going to block myself out here and put the rules up on the screen. Oh, no, good. I'm good. It's just tight enough. Anyway, rule number 1 is that you are welcome to ask questions. That's what this show is about tonight. So if you have a question, put it in the chat room. We're going to try and answer them. Nothing's really off limits unless, we get to rule number 3 and you break that one. Rule number 2 is that I don't know everything. And I don't. He doesn't either.
Nope.
No, we don't know everything, but I do have my trusty notebook here, and I have Google on my other screen. So that's right, Red Man.
And if it's online, it's true.
That's right.
I mean,
so yeah. If we don't know it, we'll look it up. If not, I'll write it down and try to get back to you at a later time. Rule number 3 is that we follow the Patrick Swayze rule here, and that's be nice. You can discuss things, you can debate, you can disagree in the chat room. That's cool. You can disagree with us. Whatever, but don't devolve into name calling. Don't devolve.
I thought the Patrick Swayze rule was if you take their knees out, the whole, fight.
That's rule number 2.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's Patrick Swayze rule number 2 is take the knee out. That's always a mean. I love that when he did that and knocked the knee on the side.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I did anytime.
Give them bifolding kneecaps.
Yeah. They go this way and they go that way. Yay.
Yeah.
Rule number 4 is that if you do have a question, please do us a favor, put a Q in front of that. That way, Donna, who is off to the side, she's here. She can pick it out and save it for later. And questions are what this show is about. So if nobody puts any questions out, we are going to stop the show early and just keep drinking.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we've been doing the last 4 or 5 days.
That's it. It.
Right.
And on that note, rule number 5 is my favorite rule, and that is drink up. Did you bring a drink?
I did.
You did bring a drink.
Of course.
Clink.
Oh, hello. I'm not thirsty, but I'll drink it.
All right. So with that, as we wait for some questions, let me get this off here. There we go. All right. So as we're waiting for some questions to come up, or if you have a topic or something about a show or whatever, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Enjoying summer, having fun, hanging out with the family, the kids, and you've got to hang out with them as well. So. Yeah, that was nice.
Actually,
yesterday you got to meet a bunch of the grandkids.
The grandkids, yes. The very
hellions. Yes.
Very active. Not used to having kids around.
I know. Well, I thought it was funny because it was like 30 minutes after they got here. You're like, Donna and I are going to run out for a few. I was like, wow. That's either you're speaking poorly of my grandkids or you're just, trying to get the hell out of here.
No. We just wanted to, see the sights. That's all. Just explore Rhode Island and all its majestic adventures.
All 38 miles by 42 miles. Literally.
Yeah.
Kenny has it's funny. I've been trying to explain to Donna and Kenny that you can be in Connecticut in 20 minutes or Massachusetts in 20 minutes because of how small the state is. And you don't realize it until you get here.
You don't. Like we started out over last weekend. We headed over we were in, where were we? Franklin, Massachusetts.
Franklin.
Yeah. Visiting with our friend Melanie Teresa King, who's been on the show multiple times. last week. Yeah. So because we were there. We were there. We did the show from their apartment. So
Redmond, just to let you know, I'm getting old, yeah, but I also started really young. So call it a day.
Yeah.
he's old.
I was a kid. I was a
Grandkids,
father in high school. Jeez.
Is that what they teach you up here?
Well, they said if you were good at something, stick to it. So I did.
So how'd you end up with so many kids then?
I stuck to it.
Oh man, no, it's been great. It's been actually great up here. Because like I said, yeah, we were in Massachusetts and like we looked it up. How long does it take to get here? And it was like 40 minutes. I'm like, wow, that's 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
that's driving halfway through the state.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, so I see we do have some questions popping up. So let's get to some, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Awesome.
Do your job, Donna. Do your
Yeah.
job. Jeez.
Are you at Skinwalker Ranch, Joe Downey? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean,
We could be.
we'd have just as good as results as they do on the show. I mean, actually, we did see a small UAP flying around over the lake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to show off one of my drones.
Yeah.
You thought I was joking about it, but
It
that
was cool.
sucker does 104 miles an hour.
That was
mean,
really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the
So-
jet skis went by and you were like,
Oh,
yeah.
went right over. I'm like,
I was-
holy
I was
shit.
harassing my neighbor while he was on his pontoon boat,
Boat, or
whipping at
like-
him.
What's
So-
going on?
Wow.
So no, we're not a Skinwalker
no,
Ranch.
no,
Yeah,
not at
it's
all.
Just back to that
I
question.
don't think I'll ever get there. You guys never went
No?
there, right?
No, I never went
Okay,
there.
no. Why would you?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That show is so bad. Have you ever watched that?
I never have.
No, good.
Never
Don't.
have. I don't. It's funny. I don't watch a lot of. I really don't watch any paranormal TV. I don't because the fact of the matter is, I feel if I watch somebody else's show, if I've ever been there, I'm going to scrutinize it, and if I haven't, I don't want to contaminate myself by watching something and seeing either what they caught, what they're saying about the history, because I like to go in with a clean slate.
Okay. Yeah, you see a lot of the. Well, I mean, some shows that we watch tend to enrich the history. That's a nice way of saying they make shit up. So you don't want to get that false history going in there and being like, why am I not seeing anything about this? And it just wastes time. So
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't think I've ever really sat down and watched a whole episode of another show. I watch all the cuts of my show before they air because I have to sign off on them and say, this isn't right or this needs to be fixed. And because we're one of the few shows that do that, as you and I have been talking about. But yeah, I don't watch any of the other ones.
Do you get sick of watching yourself?
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Every time I do a video or like with these shows, I don't mind, but I'm staring at myself all the time. I'm looking up at the screen.
I mean, I hate that too.
Yeah, I hate. I have it up there
Staring at you right
mostly
now. It's horrible.
so I know where we are, and then we can read the comments.
But no,
I'm looking at you.
I don't think it's funny because when you watch the show, when I'm watching my cuts, you'll watch it and you'll be like, oh, I hate how I pronounce that, or I hate that I said too many times, or whatever. So you start to really scrutinize everything you're doing on camera as well. But during the filming, I'm not thinking about that because my camera guys are just following me around. Their job is they're not in control. We are, and we just do what we do, and they follow us. So where it's different than some of the other shows where people are casted to make a show. We weren't casted. The show is about taps, and their job is to document what we're doing.
Okay.
So I don't have to answer to anybody.
So
I think that's the most important thing.
Did camera guys ever interfere?
No, but they've had experiences where sometimes we'll interview them on camera, but no, they don't interfere. And like my camera guy, Kenny, he's been with me for 13, 14 years, and he's the director of photography. He's the head guy, and a bunch of them have been with me for so long that it's just second nature to them. They know what we're going to do or how we're going to do it, so they're already prepared, and the cameras are always rolling. When we never repeat something, if they miss it, they miss it. It's their issue. It's their fault then, because we're doing what we're doing, and I'm not going to fake something or be told to walk into a room at a certain time because that isn't them following me. That would be them telling me what to do.
So you don't do any do-overs.
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Oh,
I
that's
wouldn't. I
interesting.
refuse to.
I've seen quite a few shows like the behind the scenes stuff where they're like, oh, okay, oh, and then somebody screams and they're like, whoa, we didn't get that. We didn't get the right angle. And then they'll set it up again and go through it.
Well, how do you fake an original reaction again? I mean, it makes no sense. So it's just not the way we've ever done it. And I think that's the most important thing. Craig Pelagian, the owner of Pilgrim Films, we were offered to do a show 5 times. We turned it down. We didn't want to be on TV. We didn't figure it would translate well. And Craig Pelagian sat us down from Pilgrim Films. And at that point, Pilgrim Films was a small little company. And he said, man, he goes, I don't care if you guys catch a ghost or not. He goes, I just want my camera guys to follow you around and see what happens. And that's how, and I signed on because I was like, all right, well, as long as you're not going to change anything, as long as you're not going to tell us what to do, we're not faking anything of that nature, then okay, because I figured if we didn't do it, somebody else was going to, and how were they going to represent what we did? And I think you can see that now with a lot of shows that have come and gone and so forth. It's just things are being blown out of proportion, or other shows that literally would give their evidence to the production company. The production company would tell them what they caught.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, even in my contract, production cannot touch my evidence. They can't. If they ever modify my evidence, it creates a breach of contract. Show's done. But I can take every one of their tapes to see if audio we caught was better on their on our microphones and stuff like that. So,
okay,
yeah,
that's interesting. Cool. Thank you.
We have a question related.
Okay. You gonna read them out, or should I?
Jason, have any of the camera crew had experiences where they got touched or scratched?
Yes, actually. Well, I mean, one of the first season we had at New Bedford Armory. One of our sound guys, Frank, had an issue where his bag actually lifted up and hit him. I mean, our camera guys have had experiences where, and when they do, a lot of times we'll interview them and get them to explain what happened on camera.
Okay. Have you ever caught anyone like a and you don't have to name names, like homeowner or business owner faking something?
Homeowner, business owner, 100%, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no problem admitting to that. Actually, one of the there was a place we filmed in California, and it was I guess a well-known place out there. I forgot the name of it, but they had the chandelier system that moved. They had speakers in the bathroom, and we went all the way out there to film this investigation. Found all this stuff, and we were talking to the guy after. We're like, you know what? Why'd you do? Well, the owner told us not to tell you. And Sci-Fi Channel did not want to air that episode, and we fought with them, and finally we got them to air it, because bottom line, if you're willing to fake something and we catch you,
right,
then we're putting it out there, because we want the world to know that you made that choice.
Yeah.
So
you wasted your time.
Line, yeah,
I mean,
and even before the show, we had somebody at one point build a speaker in their wall and connect it to like a walkie-talkie system, and because they wanted us to, get their show on. There was an old show, I don't know if you remember, Sightings.
Oh yeah,
I loved that show. But they wanted to see, oh, hopefully they can get us on there as a haunted house, and we caught them red-handed doing it. Wow. So you always need to be prepared, but take it one investigation at a time. Yeah,
I've come across people have reached out and asked for help, because they'll have a photo and they're like, hey, I want to check this because the owner gave me this photo. No one's seen it. I don't know about it. And there was a bed and breakfast. It was a pretty popular one, and I'm not going to name it because they're still in business, but it's the ghost hunter guy sent me a picture.
Can we say paranormal investigator guy? Because you say ghost hunter, it sounds like they're with me, and I hate that.
The ghost hunter. That's what
the person who is investigating the so-called claim.
The paranormal enthusiast.
Oh, okay.
I will say that, because I cannot call everyone.
I appreciate that. Like, I hate the name ghost hunter, because that's not what we do. We investigate claims of the paranormal. But go on with your boring story.
No, that's hey, that's good. You know what? Turning your mic off. Fuck you. But no, they sent me the photograph, and it was a ghost app, the image app that we click a ghost in it, and the guy was like, are you sure? And I sent him a picture back with me. There was one picture, I'm sitting on my steps with the same ghost on my shoulder. And then I did one in the palm of my hand. I'm like, there you go. This is the app. You can look it up, download it yourself. You can see the picture. And that was it. They didn't, they packed up and actually left immediately.
We've gotten that a ton of times. People will send it to you online. And I don't know if they're sending it to you because they truly believe that, like, well, if somebody sent them it, or if they're trying to see if they can trick you. That's another thing you always need to be prepared for. And a picture is tough because I've always looked at it like if you're asking me to comment on one picture, it's like you're asking me to comment on one page in a novel. I know nothing that led up to it. I know nothing that happened after it. It's just one. I mean, show me a series of pictures. Show me something actually moving through a series of pictures. That's different. I can try to work with that, but one picture is just tough to try to really do anything with.
For me, I usually can take one picture, and this is not all the time. I don't want to sound like,
but this day and age with these apps.
So yeah, with the apps, so there's a great resource. There's a couple of resources out there that track all the ghost app images. So I usually go there if I suspect it's an app. But there's other little details, but that's just from background in photography. Like details pop out at me, and I'm like, oh, like a recent photograph that TMZ put out. They put out a photograph like, oh, this famous. Well, he's a ghost hunter. Famous. No. All right, because I don't want to confuse him with you, I will say this overactor, paranormal guy. Claimed that it was a real apparition, and it turns out to be a long exposure. So they were taking pictures in the desert, and the stars are in the background. And in order to get the stars in the background at night, you need to do a long exposure. Or else you're just gonna get a black sky. But somebody, and I'm pretty sure I know who, girlfriend, stood up and did like a half stand where they were kind of like this, arms out, and then stood straight up, but only a few seconds each, and then laid back down because they were laying down, look at the stars. And that creates this image of a ghostly figure that's standing over them. So in not all cases, again, because it's just, sometimes you have to be there, but in many cases, I would say maybe like 3/4 or more, I can figure out what's going on from the picture just by the picture alone.
And I think that's important. The field needs people like you, and you and I have been friends. Most people don't realize you and I have been friends for almost 20 years. Yeah. So a long time. And we might not 100% agree on things or certain things, but we respect each other's views. And there's been times that I've called you. I've been on an investigation and I've called you and been like, hey man, can you do me a favor? Can you look up this information and let me know what you think on it? And that's the thing. It's about your field and my field working together to try to figure out what's truly going on. And I think that's the most important is the friendship and the bonds and things like that. Anybody can go off and fake things. That's not going to help the field. That's really going to set it back. And so I think that there's this whole area, this gray area that people are forgetting, where the skeptics and the believers and can work together and try to truly figure out what's going on out there.
Right. And I mean, this is a great example, and I've used it many times during lectures and stuff, that we've been friends, like you said, for like 20 years. And we don't always agree, but we can sit down and talk about it.
Because we have respect for each other that transcends whether we agree with each other or not.
Except when we're playing cornhole, then you suck.
Okay. Yeah. You can all judge yourself on that one. Somebody's had to toot their own horn, and it makes you wonder why.
Sorry, I had to bring that in there. But no, I mean, we've been friends, and we can talk to each other. And the last one, the last time you called, I remember you calling, and it was at night. And you called and you're like, hey, what's up with this Panasonic DR60 thing?
People are selling for like $1,000 and more than that.
And I was like, no, don't buy it.
Well, I wasn't going to buy it. I just wanted to know because I see people trying to sell these things for this crazy amount.
And that was, and I think you were on set because you were talking.
Yeah, I was actually doing an investigation, and somebody had sent me this thing about somebody asking. It was like, I think it was like $1,000 or $1,500 for this recorder, and I'm like, I think that's the one that has issues. So that's why I called you, because I wanted to make sure.
Right. And that was great. I mean, I love doing that. I love doing that stuff because it's that behind the scenes stuff. It's helping out when you can, and it's working together, because
that's it, working together. I think that's the key right there.
Cool. All right.
That was the longest answer to a question
That
ever.
was a long one. You talk as much as I do. I talk a lot.
Did TAPS ever consult a parapsychologist?
Did TAPS ever consult a parapsychologist for an alternative viewpoint?
I was taking Donna's job there. I was reading it for. Yes, we've connected with Lloyd Auerbach and others at times, but then again, it's tough to find actual parapsychologists because all these people buy degrees online now. Yeah. It's like, for $100 you can be a parapsychologist too. Really? And never train, never do anything, and it's ridiculous. So
what nonsense is this?
Yeah, you know exactly what nonsense. All right, so I was joking with Kenny because somebody sent me an honorary parapsychologist degree. So according to them, I'm a parapsychologist, though I've never. It's stupid shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
it drives me crazy.
It's
just like, hey, if you connect with the right people, they can certify you as a professional ghost hunter. How the hell does anybody certify you as a professional ghost hunter when there's no such thing as a professional ghost hunter? Mm-hmm. I mean, how can you be a professional in an area that you can't even prove 100% exists, that we're all working together to try to figure out? If you call yourself a professional, you call yourself an expert, you're full of shit. You are. I mean, there's no experts in this field. I've been doing it for 30 years, longer than pretty much anybody else you'll see on TV or whatever. And the fact of the matter is, there are no experts. We're all trying to figure this out. We're all investigators looking for answers.
So let's explore this. I'm gonna good. We're still on the same question. So I go back and forth with that statement about there's no experts in and I don't ever call it, I don't call it a field.
There's
I call
people
it more
who have more experience than others.
So I would argue that you don't have experts in the paranormal, quote, the paranormal, but you do have experts that are electricians, plumbers,
exactly,
carpenters. You have those experts. So
those are people who've gone through certifications that have been designed,
with a governing body.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So like if tomorrow TAPS considers themselves a governing body, does that mean I can start making everybody who gives me $100 a professional paranormal investigator?
Well, if you go through the state of California,
but I think that would be me screwing people over. And that would be me screwing the field over. And that's it's never been about money to me, man. It's never. It's, I can make money, great money as a plumber, because we're never going back to the outhouse. So I'll always have a job. But I don't want to screw this field or people over. It's that's the biggest thing. We did this to try to help, to try to figure out what's going on and help people. It was never a money-making endeavor. I mean, we've always spent money to go and investigate these homes. We don't charge people to come and investigate. We don't charge for anything. That we pay for the gas, we pay for our hotel rooms, we rent cars, all that stuff. And there's a whole side of TAPS also that isn't televised. There's a whole home team that investigate claims that have nothing to do with television. Television has just been an avenue for us to get the word out, for people to know that there's people like us out there that are trying to do this and trying to help and trying to figure out and trying to further the field. And that's what the whole TAPS family is about. These are a bunch of groups that go through criminal background checks every year, all their members, and they go and they help. They try to help with the belief that they're trying to figure out what's truly going on at no cost to the homeowner, the business owner, or anything of that.
Okay. Have you ever had to kick anyone out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
What's the wildest thing you can think of right now? Like why you had to kick someone out? Putting you on the spot.
The wildest thing.
Like the dumbest thing where you're like, holy shit, I cannot believe this person did this.
Well, I think maybe I think the majority of it, like dishonesty or having to question if that person is in the field for the right reasons, or if that person had fabricated any of the evidence that they've caught.
Okay.
I mean, these are, or if that person did something inappropriate, whether it's, I don't know, trying to have an inappropriate relationship with somebody we're going to help or whatever. I mean, those are factors that come into play that, you know, I'm just not going to. I'm not going to deal with.
That's odd. Like that.
I mean, we've been around, man. We've been investigating for 30 plus years, so we've seen it. We have seen it.
Going in and just being like, hey, you got a ghost.
How you doing?
How you doing? I can get rid of that ghost for you for a price. Bow, bow, chow.
That was I don't even know if that was 70s porn. That was horrible.
Wow, that was bad. That was bad. Well, that was VHS tape because you get the ripple and it's like,
actually prior to that. So that's like banging rocks.
Oh man. All right, what do we got?
How in the world did you two get together?
Online dating.
Yeah. I swiped right.
Yeah, farmers.com. Honestly, yeah. So Kenny, the first time Kenny reached out to me, I was investigating Eastern State for the second time. And
we were there.
Yeah. And
we met in person.
Yep,
yeah.
Met up, hung out. And honestly, it was one of those things where
love at first sight.
He had different take, and it was nice because it was refreshing to hear somebody else's take. And man, we hung out, we talked, and since that we had always stayed in touch and communicated. Yeah. We lost touch for a couple of years, but we got we got back in touch with each other and went from there. So what?
We were touching.
touching.
We got but yeah. So and again, it's just one of those things that a friendship bloomed out of it. Yeah. And we've always we've remained friends, and we've always had respect for each other. Yeah, and hang out anytime we see.
Absolutely. I mean, we go to the same fun. We have fun together, man.
Well, I mean, this is
we laugh,
usually we see each other at conferences, and we hang out, talk shit about everyone else. I laugh. That's right. I talk a lot of shit.
I keep my mouth shut, trying to be politically
whatever. Oh, if you only knew. But no, and this was the first time we actually because you've been bugging me for a while to come out and like come on out. And finally it's like, all right, you know what? We all right, I'm gonna try this relaxing thing. And
when he finally said I'm gonna come, I was like, oh shit, he's actually doing it.
No. Like, I was hoping he would just say no again, but here I am a week later.
He's not relaxing. It's funny. It's like we're at a lake. I get on the jet ski, or I've gotten him on the boat, which has been good. I actually had to pull up to a sandbar in the middle of to get him to actually get off the boat and to step in the water. It was only up to his knees, and but. His idea of relaxing is sitting on the porch on his laptop or phone while his wife or whatever, and we're out, playing around in the water or whatever else. But hey, whatever. Hey, if that's your idea of relaxing, fine. I mean, you're not going to live to be an old man, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll see. Let's see. My goal is 120. That's my
days
goal.
Or years?
Age. That's my age that I'm shooting for.
Yeah, mine was 50, and made it.
So, all right. What else we got? Thanks, Barbara.
What was your favorite investigation?
My favorite investigation. I mean, there's been so many. On television, televised ones have been the Stanley Hotel, St. Augustine Lighthouse, Waverly Hills. It's been some great ones on that we have actually televised. I mean, I've got a lot of personal investigations that have been off air that fall under. We have a whole confidentiality agreement for most of our cases, and and a lot of those. Anytime children are involved, that we're able to help a family. I mean, that's the most important. And I love the I love being able to figure out what's going on and it having nothing to do with the paranormal. I love that. That's some of the best. But yeah, anytime we can help a family, it's definitely my favorite investigation.
Cool. All right. What else we got?
What is your most memorable interactions you have had while investigating?
Memorable
interactions.
Well, I mean, anytime you get a direct response or something like that. Some of the.
I love you.
Sounds exactly what I hear coming from the room you're staying in every night.
I'm just
No, it's
whispering underneath the door.
anytime we're getting direct responses to questions we ask, I think some of my favorite interactions, of course.
My interactions are usually when I solve the case and I'm like, yes, figured it out. Done. Check this off. But I mean, yeah, I don't have interactions. I never have interactions with
people, with
well, you know,
paranormal.
People avoid me.
Good interactions.
Yeah,
So you don't really have good interactions. You're not good with your people skills.
Well, you know, people suck. And I mean, everyone will agree.
I rest my case.
Everyone will
I rest
agree.
my case.
I think everyone will look out and be like, yeah, people suck, but they're all other people, not you guys. You guys, I love you guys.
That was an awesome backtrack there.
That was
great.
good. That was good. I'm still waiting though. I'm still waiting. Okay. Uh-oh.
From your friend.
Oh boy, Jason. Go ahead.
What ethical responsibility, if any, do you feel when people watch your shows and wrongly believes our home is haunted, following your pseudoscientific methods? Kenny and I've met many people who've badly frightened, even when it's clear no ghosts are there.
Well, I mean, first off, I don't feel that I'm wrongly, labeling anybody's home. We go in, if they believe they have activity, we go in, we investigate. If we catch activity, we show them, and go from there. So your viewpoint is your viewpoint. I'm not going to push my belief system on you. And even though you seem like you want to push yours on me, that's fine. But I'm doing what I do. I'm helping, as long as I help people, that's all that matters to me. And so some people's opinions really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone into people's houses. I try not to.
But if you've gone to somebody's house that I've gone to,
then I would call you.
Yeah.
And
well,
say,
but
what the fuck did you do?
Exactly. But you haven't gone to somebody's home
Right.
that I've gone to, and they're,
I can say yes. I've never gone to a residence that you've gone to beforehand.
No, because I've got nothing, and I've always been open. I've got nothing to hide about anything. So they're calling me in. I'm going in. I'm trying to help them to the best of my ability, and go from there. And that's bottom line is all I can do. So whether most people like it, some people don't, that's to each their own. I really don't give a damn about that as long as I've helped the people who called me in. I don't care what outsiders or people looking in think about it.
I mean, I think if I went to a place, excuse me, that would be the first thing I would do. As soon as they said, well, Jason was here, and I'd call you and be like, all right, what?
And
what
let
did
me
you
know
find?
if I went wrong somewhere. Let me know if I screwed up on something. And you know me. I'd be like, thanks for the heads up, man. I appreciate it.
We've
I'm
talked about
I'm not going to be sitting there going, screw you. It's really haunted. No, that's just not who I am.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, that I've gone into places where it's usually other just more amateur groups. I don't think I've been into places where a certain adventurous crew went into, and I had to do damage control from that. But usually it's more your amateur ARGs, I think, amateur research groups that go in there and they tell the homeowner like, oh, your place is haunted or it's possessed by demons and this and that. And that is, to me, coming in there is damage control, because now I have to go through everything and work and show twice as much evidence or twice as much data, twice as much work in order to have them understand this is not a supernatural cause. This is what caused, like lighting this way, photography, your camera sucks, something like that, and go through all those steps. So,
but also, I mean, we were investigating the paranormal 15 years prior to the show ever existing. So it wasn't like, oh, we're going to create a group just to be on television, or I mean, that was never our plan. So we were doing this long before the show ever existed. We didn't want to be on TV in the first place, but then we figured, all right, well, they're coming to us. And, I had helped out on other shows, and they're coming to us asking us to do a show, which means they're going to go to others and ask them to do a show. Well, if we were worried about how the field was going to be represented. Now, a lot of times you'll see groups pop up, or a show pop up with people who all of a sudden they claim that they've been this group for the last 20 years that there's no history on. I mean, you can look back at the Wayback Machine, look at Taps back in the 90s, the Taps website and stuff. So we've been out there long before the show even existed.
Back in the 90s, like how awful is that website?
Oh man, it was, you know what? I have it backed up on the laptop. I'll have to show it to you. It was good. It was, for its time, and we're AOL and all that stuff.
Right.
And,
AOL.
It take you 20 minutes to sign on and stuff. I don't know if it's still around.
All right. Good one. What do we got next?
So Ben's here again. He said, didn't answer my question about if you feel any ethical responsibility when people are misled into thinking ghosts are present.
Well, see, I don't feel I misled anybody. So the answer to your question is no. I mean, I don't feel I'm misleading anybody. So if you do, I get it. And that's your own feeling, but that's not how I look at it. So no, I don't feel that I've misled anybody into thinking ghosts are present, but okay.
All right.
Okay. Jason,
Cat.
Was there any member of TAPS who you particularly enjoyed teaming up with when you all went to different areas of a location?
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, of course, there's been, one of my favorite people investigated with Chris Angelo. He was a member of TAPS who was actually going to be a part of the show. He was killed just prior to us starting the show. But Chris was great. I always loved investigating with Steve and Grant, and most people don't realize I knew Steve years before I ever met Grant. So Steve and I investigated all the time together. I love getting out there and investigating with Sherry because she has a different take on things, and she also comes at it from a softer side when we're investigating. So yeah, I love getting out there and investigating with all of them.
Softer side.
She does. That. I mean, it's nice because
Sherry is the softer side of ghost hunting.
You know what? It's funny because she a lot of times she'll keep the rest of us sort of grounded or in line. But well, honestly, you do, and that's why I love investigating with my daughters as well because how they are. But the fact of the matter is, everybody brings something different, and I think that's important. So every investigator it brings their own personal side of it.
That's interesting. Like I get that, and I agree. Yeah, everybody brings their own personal thing. I guess I have issue when their own personal thing is potentially harmful to a resident. Say like somebody has their own home, they're in there, they think it's haunted or something like that, and a group goes in and says, yes, you have demons. We know that after being here for 4 hours.
First off, if anybody tells them they have demons, that person needs to be removed from the house in the first place.
I mean,
that was the wrong group to actually.
That was the wrong group. But even if we dial it back and just say that the place is haunted, and it's based on a lot of stuff that, like, I don't agree with, EMF meters, REM pods, Connect, Xbox Connect, shit like that.
You know that, yeah. I hate
and that I think is a big problem because they might be bringing their own way of doing things, but that way of doing things is completely wrong, and it's not how you prove anything. It's not how you gather valid evidence or valid data. So when I see that, yeah, it's their own thing, but I do have a problem with it, and I will advise against it.
Yeah. And like I said, everybody has their own take on things. And, when I investigate it, there's a lot of episodes that never air too. So I have final say on where we investigate and all these things. But of course, the network owns their channel. So they have final say on which episodes air and which don't. Okay. So they can decide, well, we only want to air the ones that you feel you might have caught some sort of activity. And when we're investigating, it's, there's a difference when I'm sitting there saying you have a ghost or I believe you have paranormal activity. So activity beyond the normal of what we're used to or what we're able to figure out at that moment. So I think that there's a big difference there. I don't feel I ever go to somebody's house and be like, oh, yeah, you appears you got a demon, you should sell this place or anything like that.
Right.
I've never believed in that. I believe that if anything, if somebody's scared in their house, you need to figure out how to help them and empower them to take back, to get rid of that fear and move forward.
Right.
It's, empower them as a homeowner.
And
don't scare them more by making them think that there's something here and you're in danger or you need to be frightened. I don't go down that path. That's not who we are.
I think for me, what I do is usually I get like the claims beforehand so I can try to work them out and see what possible angles I can go. And if I do show up at the house, it's not only do we go through, I walk through each claim and this is what I found. This is what I think it is. This is how I can recreate it. Hopefully all 3 of them I can do. And then after that's done, I will take time with the person and just say, look, the next time something happens, these are some steps to go through to try to figure out the mystery yourself. Let's instill some critical thinking into your daily routine. And if you hear a bang like on the stairs and you come here and you find like boots on the floor out of nowhere, like what's your first thought? Sometimes people are like, well, something threw it out, something threw it down the stairs. Or do you have a shelf that's at the top of the stairs that the shoes don't actually fit into right and they're kind of teetering and somebody comes running down the house or slams the door and it knocks the boot off and it falls down.
Well, just like the people who claim that they're hearing footsteps, and most of this seems to always happen in the fall, and people don't sit there and think about their heat systems turning on, high humidity factor, and the floor starts popping, things drying out. It sounds like footsteps. I mean, or pipes banging. I mean, these are factors that come into play that explain the majority of the activity that goes on in people's homes that they automatically associate as ghostly or paranormal or any of that nature, when most of it can be figured out, whether it be animals in the walls. I mean, you have all these factors, lights flickering. I mean, just bad electrical. So all these factors can come into play, and those all need to be looked at
separately.
Yeah, and some people, no matter what you tell them, they're going to believe they have a ghost.
Yes, and
no matter what you tell them, you can find everything, you can figure everything out for them, but they want to have a ghost, and those people you cannot help.
And that's where I feel you have to pick your battles. You have to get that sense of, is this person genuine? As in, they really believe something's going on.
They want to have or they want the notoriety of having the haunted house in the block.
Or, they want the $120 a night, weekend thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I get
and
that.
A gift shop.
And a gift shop.
Gotta love it.
A gift shop where they don't sell the dummies book. I'm sorry, that was the inside joke. All right, what else we got?
We have a question from Redman. Jason, how do you think today's Ghost Hunter show has evolved compared to your first season?
Well, I've gotten old. So
that's apparent.
I think I think we've evolved, or the show's evolved. We've looked for more explanation. Equipment's come a lot further, whether it's DVR cameras or any of those cameras from where we first were. I think we evolve as investigators, and we learn more and more, and you're able to figure out more and more about what's all right. Well, this isn't anything paranormal. This isn't anything ghostly, and so forth. So
okay, cool.
Which piece of paranormal investigative equipment doesn't get the airtime it deserves?
Common sense.
That's a good one.
I mean, common sense, I think, is the most important piece of equipment anybody can use, and not enough people use it
because it's not so common. But I'm bumped.
Yes, that was. I honestly, I say it all the time. I think common sense is the most important piece of equipment that any investigator can use, and it's not meant as a joke or whatever. But I mean, we've gone to some of these places after other teams have been in there, and you're just like, and Jesus, I mean, this person, the last group, just wasn't thinking at all. No matter what, they wanted it. They wanted to have a ghost. They wanted something that they could put on their website. And
so they were just looking for content, like quick
exactly.
content.
And it's just so they're just common sense. I think it's the most important piece of equipment anybody can use.
I think if we're talking about equipment, like per se, not, I mean, that I love your answer, and I'm definitely, that's number one. But if we're talking about actual devices, I would go with anything that can be hooked to a data logger. And this is Dave Schumacher is in the chat now. I mean, he's big on that. I think data loggers are really good because too many groups claim to be scientific, and that they're anything but.
I agree with you.
And when they are collecting evidence, they're actually collecting data, but they're not collecting enough data. Whereas data's loggers can be set, and Dave, feel free to correct me on this, but you can take several, probably like either once a second or like 10 times a second. You take these or more. There's I know there's probably a huge range, but you can get so much data out of, instead of taking 1 meter and walking around the room for like 2 minutes, you can leave it there for a week and get tons of data and actually see if there's any anomalies.
And working with people like Dave and so forth, I think would be very beneficial for us as well as every other investigator in the field. I mean, to learn from others who know about equipment that we might not be using and how it could benefit us, and benefit the field in general, I think is a positive thing that we should be doing. We should be, bringing that divide a hell of a lot closer.
Right. There you go. 400 data points per second. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
I did see Redmond earlier say something about, what should we do? Change the investigation length of time that we're there. And honestly, yeah, I think most the show makes it look like we're at a place for a night or whatever. And the thing is, first off, we're at these places a week, 2 weeks. We can be there as long as we need to. But you can't tell because we always wear the same shirt, the same color shirt, the same color pants, because
same underwear too.
Maybe. But that way, when they're editing the show, it just makes it easier. And when I'm watching the cut, I can be like, well, this needs to be here. But if I was wearing a polo shirt that day and I wasn't wearing a polo shirt, so it just makes it easier cutting the show together. So I think the longer anybody can spend at a location, the better. So yeah, I think definitely the amount of time spent at a place is highly important when it comes down to an investigation.
I think just to add to that, I mean, there's stuff that we've talked about on the other show, 3 Tortured Souls with Tim and Dave. We've talked about trying to have a location under surveillance or data logging for an entire year, at least.
Well, and one thing we used to do quite a bit of was if we were going to go film somewhere, we would a lot of times go and set up the DVR prior to us investigating and off camera and so forth, because you set up a camera and you have a camera rolling in somebody's house 24/7 for the first couple of days. They remember that camera's there, but then their normal personalities start to break through and they'll forget the cameras are there, and they might say something or do something that they would have normally done when the cameras weren't there.
Right.
So now you're able to start seeing, because I mean, you deal with an investigation. It might not have anything to do with the paranormal. It could be everything from drug abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. All these factors come into play that you need to take into consideration. So setting up the cameras prior, letting them run even before you get there, and then you get there and you're investigating for a week or two and so forth, I think is a benefit. But I 100% agree with you. Setting up cameras and leaving stuff to record and document
for a while,
for long periods of time is the best. And that's the way to do it.
We did so self-promotion. Dave and Tim and I, mostly Dave, he was the lead on the paper, but we did a paper on electromagnetic fields in non-haunted compared to allegedly haunted areas. Mm-hmm. And the gist of it is basically he found that the same kind of readings, same kind of spikes and dips were present at a non-haunted house as there are in a haunted house or allegedly haunted house. So it really needs to be replicated. We want other people to do it. But just that's the kind of thing that he did. He set up several meters, including tri-field meters, but in his own house, and set it for several hours at a time. And that recorded the natural routines of everyone. He didn't adjust routines at all. Any daily routines, nothing was adjusted. He went about, if the meters were like here, and he usually sets up his laptop on the coffee table, that's what he did. So he got all of these dips. He got everything. Yeah. So it was a nice way to collect all this data over a period of time and show that normal households have all of these spikes, all of these dips, all of these weird alleged anomalies that people get in houses they think are haunted. So it was really good to compare it, and we wouldn't have known that unless he did it for the several hours at a time. I mean, when you, again, like I go back to so many people that go in for the first 10, 15 minutes of their investigation. And again, I use investigation loosely because I don't think everyone does an investigation. But when they go in there and they only do it for 10 minutes and they're like, all right, we have our base readings. No, you didn't.
Yep.
You absolutely did not get any kind of legitimate base reading. You have something. You have like a crazy erratic data point that goes from room to room, but you don't have anything that's valid. At least I don't think you do. But so yeah, that was a long-winded way to say data loggers. That's my answer. I keep looking at the TV instead of the camera. I keep looking up there. Doing too. Yeah, that's all right. That's why we're looking up. We're looking at the TV. All right.
How can you understand if an eyewitness of an alleged paranormal phenomenon is lying or not?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one. That's, and the fact of the matter is, I've always felt that when you're investigating, you need to take people's claims with a grain of salt, because people's perceptions of things that happen might be very different than how it actually happened. So, yeah, I mean, and then sitting down and talking with the people and everything else, you're hoping that you can get some sort of insight into who they really are and how they perceive things, and if they're looking for attention versus really believing that something's going on. So sometimes you were just trying to take that person's word for it. But yeah, sitting down, talking with the person, trying to get to know the person to the best of your ability is going to be, I would think, your top step when it comes to that.
I'll add that when you interview people, record it. Make sure you record it.
Because it's tough to know when somebody's lying. Like, it is tough. It's like, I could be sitting here being like, oh, I'm really enjoying Kenny here.
Me too. I love Jay's company.
No, but it's tough.
I like when his knee accidentally brushes against mine.
Yeah, right there. But it's tough until you get to know. Like, you and I have known each other long enough that if I say something off kilt, you're gonna kind of pick up on it because you know me. But that's because you know me. Right. So if we had just met and you're trying to get a read on me, it's not going to be that easy. And I think you'd agree with that.
Where I'm going with this, I'm saying record it so that you can get exactly what they say. I never offer
questions different ways.
Ask the same questions, get their answers, and then compare it. I also, if there's multiple witnesses of an event, then you separate them as soon as possible. Absolutely. And you interview them separately. Don't give them time.
Sharing information back and forth with one another and then telling you what,
It's so easy to have a group of people start telling about an experience, and then everyone jumps in, and the stories, even though if you interviewed them separately, they would be different. There would be different details, but they merge together.
Well, also, when I go to somebody's house, I like to go through I like to look at their book collections. I like to look at their movie collections, because I want to understand this person's where they stand psychologically. If they're telling me all exactly what they think I want to hear, and they've got all these books on ghosts and hauntings, well, they're pulling from books, and they're giving you all this information. So yeah, you really honestly go through their book collections, go through their movie collections. Try to understand as much as you can of that person too.
And also just check on them. Check their fact check them. That's what I want to say. Fact check them. Because not everyone is lying. Some people do lie. I'm not
I'll
gonna
look at people's social medias. I'll go way back in their history of their
Right.
social medias to see if there's ever been anything that they posted online about ghosts and hauntings or activity in their house and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do that, and just you want to check the history. Like if they tell you events that happened in the house, check the history
Yep.
of the house. Make sure that actually happened, because maybe they got a story from the previous owner or a neighbor.
So often,
Yeah,
that happens.
and
so
that's
often.
like, oh yeah, old Fred, fell down the stairs, broke his neck. That's why we have a ghost. And then you find out there was no Fred,
Yep.
and no one ever fell down the steps, and no one ever died in the house.
We were doing a case. It was Ghost Nation. We were doing a case, and this homeowner, very, very nice family living in Michigan, had been told for years about this lady who was walking into the living room, fell down the stairs, laid on the floor with a broken hip, and succumbed. Ended up dying right there in the living room. And we went and we did the whole history, followed that person's, and found out that person didn't die in the house. That never happened. She died at a nursing home. It was like 40 miles away.
I know this,
but yeah, you know this case. And the fact of the matter, or the other one where supposedly her uncle or son fell out of the window in the other thing, and none of that happened. He died 20 miles away at a hospital from something else. None of that information was correct, but the people believe that they had this haunting from this lady and her son, but those people, they never died there. There was none of that ever happened. So it was about getting the real information, and also just taking that weight off of the homeowner's shoulders, where every time they're sitting in the living room, they're like, oh, somebody died right here in front of me. Right. No, they didn't.
Yeah,
so
never happened.
And you'd be surprised how quickly the paranormal activity seems to stop now.
Right.
That she has the correct information and realized, okay, none of that ever happened. Okay, well then maybe my mind's been playing.
I think so. Yeah. I think you get that once you learn that kind of factoid.
Yeah. It takes that weight off your shoulders. It relieves you. You stop focusing. I mean, you're sitting in a living room alone in a house thinking, well, I mean, the lady died right here, her son died right behind me.
Because depending on your beliefs, I mean, that automatically says everything that's weird in the house that happens that's weird
is attached to this.
Yes,
it's all because she passed away here. No, she didn't.
And once you cut that cord, you said nope, that never happened. Therefore, the basis of all your beliefs up to now have been based on a false history.
And all of a sudden, activity stops.
It's gone.
Yep,
it's good
because it's more psychological than actual activity.
Let's try to get one more question, and then we'll take our pee break.
Okay.
And then
Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hi, Jason. Question, please. I just recently moved to Arizona from Rhode Island, and I'm wondering if you have traveled to Arizona yet. I moved from Arizona to Rhode Island. P.S. Memory. Your team was investigating a fire department in Coventry, Rhode Island. Great show.
Well, thank you. And actually, it was West Warwick, Rhode Island that we investigated. Fire department there. But yes, we've been to Arizona. We were out in Tombstone, Arizona. We filmed there. We filmed in Bisbee, Arizona. Chris Williams actually lives in Arizona right now. So yeah, I love Arizona. Great place, and gets you the hell away from winters. The only problem with Arizona is it doesn't border the water. It's just. Yeah.
I guess you get spoiled having the water like 50 feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, do I want water or do I want desert? I'll take water.
I'll take water.
Yeah. So Arizona, I love Arizona. It's some of the hottest temperatures I've ever experienced are there. But
Tombstone, I like to be.
Tombstone, but it was like 115 degrees when I was there. God, no. And I was, and it was like monsoon season. We had tarantulas and scorpions everywhere.
All right.
But anyways, yes.
Right,
so with that, we're going to take our pee break. We're going to be gone for 4 minutes. We're going to.
Streams?
Well. See, this is why we're friends. Sorry.
How long we got?
We're going to have 4 minutes. See, 4 minutes and 11 seconds right there. So can you pop that question off there for me, Donna? Yep. Thank you. And everybody else, we got a bunch of questions we're going to get to in the second hour. So stick around. You're not going to bed early. Not tonight.
4 minutes. That's like
4 minutes.
More than Kenny
Ready?
needs with Donna.
4 minutes from now. right. We are back. Let me see if I just expand this because Donna's putting on. Look at that. Look how big we are. Wow.
Better?
I got a really tiny head. No, jeez.
Well,
You guys are funny.
need to put a fro on there. That would look good. All right.
I couldn't imagine having hair these days.
Whew.
All right,
How
we have
long
a
has it been?
question.
How long has it been? I've been shaving my head for like 20 years, man. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm more aerodynamic.
Helps with the jet skis.
Look at that tan on that thing.
You
I
get-
know, you got
look
it.
at that
It's
glare.
like a solar panel.
It's like Captain Picard. All right. What else we got there, Donna?
We have a question from Redman. There's a chance Kenny could get an episode of Ghost Hunters.
Actually, I've asked you to.
Yes.
I've asked you to film with me and do stuff. So, I mean, it depends on Kenny's position and stuff like that. But I have asked Kenny to do episodes with us. So,
Yeah, it's usually scheduling or commitments and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see. One day you might see me up there.
and I'm probably one of the only shows out there that would sit there and say, "Hey, Kenny, come
Hey,
film
Kenny,
with me."
come on. I know
yeah,
there's another one that would.
yeah. Zach.
That
Although
would
you
have you on?
wouldn't you?
Oh, would?
Yeah.
Oh, that you
Yeah,
would.
yeah,
I would. Oh, yeah. I'd come on.
Yeah.
Well, no. You know what? I wouldn't. Just because of what we talked about earlier with like editing and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
You know?
that's the thing. It's you need to, for Kenny to be on a show, and like we've actually talked about, if I ever had Kenny on a show, I would sit down with Kenny and watch the cut and be like, all right, Kenny, make sure everything seems legit and right and everything else. And then I'd sign off on it. And that's the thing. If you go on a show that you've been casted on, that other than like me who
Right.
controls it, you wouldn't have that ability. They could modify, they could edit however they wanted when it came down
Right.
to you. So
Right.
next thing you know, Kenny Biddle is this huge believer in believing everything that's said.
He believes in
That-
ghosts and the world is flat.
But that's not what you'd want. Because if I have you on the show, I want your honest opinion and your honest thoughts and exactly what you're thinking. So I want it to be real. And that's
And that's why usually when I do get calls, and when we did talk about
Mhm.
this, like when I get a call and someone's like, "Hey, I want you to be on the show," I'm pretty much the token skeptic. It's one, okay, what's the fee? Because usually I would have to take off of work in order to attend, and I'm not taking off of work to do work. So yeah, you got to.
you're not going to lose money
Right.
for
I'm
a
not paying for
production
this.
company to make a fortune off of you being
Right.
there and
Right.
you're the one who gets screwed in the long run.
And I want to be able to see, how you're going to portray me, because like the difference in one word out of a sentence, and you can change, you can
Absolutely.
flip the meaning, and I can't do that. So I usually that's my two things. Like, all right, so what's the fee? Because you are taking me away from my job and my work, who need me to work, and then I want to see the finished product. I want to see what you're gonna do, what my cut is, and
What
not
your
cut.
cut
That
is.
sounded weird.
That would
I
be
want to know
weird.
what my edit is.
Yeah, exactly.
The footage that I'm going to be in.
And like, and I've always been straight with you on that, where I would sit down with you even prior to anything airing and going over it with you. So
Right. The main problem before, like anytime it's come up, it's just scheduling, because I didn't have the freedom in my previous employment where I could just get up and go.
but I have asked him. So
Yes.
see what happens.
We'll see.
Should move that mouse. It's like right on my nose.
Is it mine? Any advice for our new team, L&M Paranormal?
Well, I mean, find people you trust, find people you feel you can totally rely on, that you 100% trust, and go from there. And just understand that members are going to come and go. It's one day at a time. Just
I'm gonna add a bunch of stuff, and feel free to jump in. Buy some science books. Buy books on methodology.
I will say, try to avoid reading books on the paranormal, because I think everybody should blaze their own trail, do things their own way. I don't want to see somebody buy my book and then investigate pretty much stamping just like I do. I think everybody doing things their own way, not everybody, but most people doing things their own way will help push the field forward. Don't follow, everybody else's footsteps. Just, find your own method, your own style.
Right. Don't be afraid of criticism either.
No.
That's a big thing. That's a pet peeve with me. Criticism is part of it, especially. Because
you don't know everything, man. You need to talk with other people who might be better. Like I'm a great plumber, man. I can figure out your plumbing issues or whatever, but I don't know the first damn thing when it comes down to electrical or other things. So these are people in other fields who know more, so I can bring them in. So you gotta be willing to take advice and look for help from others who might specialize in something more than you.
And understand that you are going to be wrong. Not all the time. I'm not going to say 100%, but there are going to be many times you're going to be wrong. And I've been through it many times. People have had not only told me, but showed me. Because, I come from the generation of show your work. Like you didn't just give an answer. You had to show how you got to that answer. And when I jump over that part and just give an answer, I'll have other people, fellow skeptics, call me out and say, hey, where'd you get this from? Where's your reference? Where's your citation? So I'm always ready to take criticism. It's a hard battle because when you start getting criticized, especially and I bring this up once in a while, my first article that I published in Skeptical Briefs, which was a newsletter for Skeptical Inquirer, that was sent back to me like twice, at least twice, because I filled out all the information, thought I had everything, and it was critiqued, honestly critiqued. The points were right, but it was such a blow to my ego because I was the ghost hunter in the 90s. And I was like, I thought I knew what I was doing and then realized, oh shit, I don't. Let me go back and check this. I had to reference this. I made claims without backing anything up. So for me, my best advice is to get some books about science, how to run experiments. And if you're going to give any kind of analysis on things, especially photography and video, make sure you read about them. Make sure you understand photography. Don't just if all you know how to do is push the button or tapping the screen, take a picture, then you're not a photographer and you should not be analyzing photographs. Bottom line. So
and also don't get in the field because you're expecting to catch a ghost.
Yes.
I think if you're getting involved in the field, you try to make sure you're getting involved in the field for the right reason. I mean, too many people out there are, they think they're going to get a ghost. They're going to be the next hit show. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Just make sure if you're getting involved, you're getting involved for the right reasons. I think that's the most important because whether the show is gone or not, I'm still going to be doing what I do, and it's never been about TV. We did it prior to the show. We'll do it long after the show. And when we pulled the show from Sci-Fi, when we decided that I didn't want to be on Sci-Fi Channel anymore, I still investigated the claims of paranormal. I didn't have a camera running around with me, so it was all about trying to help out still.
Cool. All right.
Okay, there's a question from John Guy, and Jade Kitten also had a similar question early on. Can you discuss your takes on the most recent UFO hype?
Bullshit. That's all I got to say. I watched it. I went through it, and I thought it was ridiculous. The congressional hearing that just happened yesterday, I think.
Well, let's just first off, UFOs. It just means unidentified flying object. So the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of things out there that are unidentified. It doesn't mean they're aliens,
right?
And
right.
that's one thing we need to make sure we're thinking about.
So I'm going to speak specifically about what was in the hearing and the testimony that was presented.
Are you going to bring up that time you got anal probed?
No. It is a fun story. What? Donna's getting into the smack talk now. So yeah, the most recent stuff, the hype with the videos, they just talked about the same videos. The whistleblower did nothing but say, I know a guy. Like that was his argument. That was his interview. That was his testimony. I know a guy. I interviewed a guy. I heard this. I heard that. No first-hand accounts. It was complete bullshit. It was a waste of time.
But now
And
everybody knows his name.
everybody knows his name.
So what was the real reason? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's it. Yeah, he's looking for fame. He's looking for I don't know. I'm going to speculate here and say not only he's looking for fame, but he's looking for that. I want to get on the UFO circuit, the conference circuit, and just travel around and be a guest speaker that's paid a lot of money.
Yep.
And because it's ridiculous. I mean, there's if there was top secret information, just because you retire from the military does not mean you're automatically allowed to tell everyone these top secrets.
I think that could
You just
affect your
not-
pension, couldn't it?
That's going to affect everything. I mean, I think, and correct me if somebody out there that knows better than I do, but I think that could lead to imprisonment, fines, because it's top secret freaking information. You just, oh, I'm out. I'm a civilian now. I can blab it all. That's not, I don't think that's how it works.
I don't think that's how it works.
So, I mean, because if it did, then we'd know a lot more, I'm sure. But I think there's some rules in place.
A lot of people have retired from the military.
I actually, what I will recommend is that a friend of ours, Brian Dunning, he does skeptoid.com. He just put out another film called the UFO movie They Don't Want You to See. And a little bit of this is addressed in that. Because he talks to I think he was a retired military guy talking about this and the consequences. And it's there's still consequences. So if this was true, I mean, even before he went to the hearing, if it was true, he'd be in trouble. It's not true. Therefore, he won't get in trouble because it's not true. He's not telling any secrets. But now that he's in a hearing, I don't know how that works. Like, is there lying under oath? I don't know if that.
I mean, this
that
day and
applies.
age, isn't it okay to lie under oath in hearing? Whatever. I'm not going to get into all this stuff, but yeah.
I don't want to get in too far into that.
Yep.
But
That's a rabbit hole.
that's my thanks, John, for the question. That's my take on it. I think it was just a big waste of time, taxpayers' money. 2.5 hours of my life gone. Just
That's exactly how I feel right now.
wow. Hey, there's the door.
It's my door.
Get the fuck out.
It's my door. I know exactly where the door is. So,
There's the door.
what recommendations? Go ahead, Don. I'm sorry, I'm taking your job. Damn
What
it.
recommendations do either of you have for dealing with bad and or negative
Oh, drink.
energy, Tim Vickers?
So, quick backstory here.
When
For
any-
us, usually energy is like in the paranormal world. I usually see energy used in the wrong context.
Mhm.
It's used more as a placeholder. So when someone asks a question like this, we usually drink when someone says energy and
In the
uses it
wrong
in the wrong
context.
context. So where are you? Oh, you're
Get my
drinking.
drink, man. What the hell?
God damn right you are. That's the rules. So
Go ahead.
So do you
I
have any
thi-
recommendations?
if you have recommendations and you think you have bad and or negative energy, maybe you should read a science book. And realize that's not how it works. I mean, you have negative and positive poles, but that's not good or bad. It's all and again, a follow-up question is, what kind of energy? What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
well, I mean, are
We
we?
do have-
But yeah, are we referring to like bad energy coming off of another person? And I don't mean bad energy like, demonic.
So that's
or,
like
or-
that's
yeah.
vibes.
well, yeah,
you know, like
exactly.
yeah.
But I mean, sometimes people with just bad energy
Yeah.
will drag you down, man. They will, because it weighs on you. So it's
So
more about
that's-
like removing them from as a guy just like you did martial arts I did martial arts for a long time, and energy like chi and things like that were things that I believed you could get yourself in a better place mentally and energy wise before a tournament or things like that.
That's more of a
Yeah.
how do I want to say that? That's more of a mentality and or like
Meditation
behavior
or-
thing. Like when you
But
say
I think a lot of
someone's
people
bad energy.
I think a lot of people look at it as, in that same
Thanks, Tim.
same way. it's, I'm not a believer that, some demonic bad energy or whatever is going to bleed into me. I think that you as a person, you can protect yourself from all the negativity out there, whether it's energy or people or whatever.
Yeah, and that is
like
more,
I've removed
like
a lot of bad energy or negative people
bad juju
who've been in my life throughout the years.
So that's
and
more
I
of a
feel
s-
so
a s-
much in a better place because I've done that.
That's I see that more of a slang term. That's and that's more of a behavioral thing. That like they were just bad people. Like they're always trying to bring us down or talk us down or insult us. I get that.
But I think the power is inside of you to push any bad energy or negative.
Sounds like Captain
people.
Planet.
But no, but
The power is in you.
But I do, just like if you're the kind of person and you're in a fight and you keep on getting knocked down, you keep on getting up. I mean, you've got that energy inside of you to just to cleanse yourself, to get that bad stuff away from you. I'm not sitting here again.
I think we're on the same page with that, and with this, especially because I know Tim, and Tim, you met Tim the other night.
Oh yeah,
this is the Tim. So yeah, I think one,
What's up,
he's
Tim?
just doing it to get us to drink, and two, I think it's more, he's talking more about the placeholder kind of thing when people use the word energy and they don't know what they're talking about, and it just
Gotcha.
All right, moving on. Thanks, Tim.
Taryn wants to know if you sold the pillows yet, asking for a friend.
Is there a drink thing going on? I don't know.
No, the farted pillow.
from
The
the
one
other night.
you said you were going to fart on my pillow.
Oh yeah, Kenny's got pink eye.
This one right there.
I almost got banned on Facebook
The other night.
because you said something and
Bullshit!
I said I'm gonna come down and kick your A with 2 money symbols, and Facebook contacts me and tells me it's against community standards. You're threatening violence.
See, because I reported
I'm
you,
like,
bitch.
you are such a
I said, you know what?
God.
Report. Yep.
I'm like, the
Harassment.
guy's in my house and he almost gets me banned from Facebook,
He's a
which is like
celebrity.
ridiculous.
Jason Hawes is stalking
Oh,
me.
I don't act like a celebrity at all. That's not me. So
He's a diva.
What is the worst fan mail /
Fan-
fan interaction?
oh. Well, there's been quite a few. When I went
Well,
back
I'm here.
yeah,
I mean,
no.
I haven't
You're
left.
not a fan. I mean, yeah, gee, you and I have actually talked about this, but
That's good.
when I went back to my hotel room and found out that 2 women had claimed that they were my production assistants and gotten a key for my room and were in my room. Remember you and I talked about this, and I opened the door and they're in my room, and you're in a situation where I can't let the door close because the minute that door closes,
Right, you're
they
in
can
trouble.
say whatever.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there with my foot in the hallway and my other foot in my room, wondering all my stuff that they've gone through, and yelling down the hallway to get people to show up, to come down to remove the situation. That, or I mean, gee, I had stalker issues.
Yes. Yeah, I know you had some serious
Severe
issues.
stalker issues. You don't want
to talk too much about that.
yeah, I mean, there's been some
There you go.
weird stuff, but you know what? The majority of the fans are phenomenal. I mean, they're the ones who made the show a success, and we owe it all to them, to be honest with you. So, but of course, there's some bad apples that you end up with.
There's always going to be, and that's the reason why I haven't posted many pictures this week, because it's like this is his area, like his private place. I don't want people knowing where we are.
It's I've always been very protective of the family and so forth. But
yeah, you should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some crazy people out there.
Yep.
And
don't get me wrong, my sons are like great bodyguards. They're huge.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're big.
They
boys.
are. They're bigger than you are.
Oh, yeah.
All of them are bigger
All
than
state
you
championship wrestlers and everything. When I walk around my sons, I feel very protected. Which I'm sure they used to feel like when they were small.
Right,
Walking around,
right.
Dad, I'm
Right.
protected. Now it's like,
Now it's their job though.
Yep.
All right. That's good.
Jade Kitten, is Ghost Hunters
Still
on? I don't think so.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
It's still on.
Yeah, we've been with Travel Channel. there was a reboot that was done that
Sucked.
I wouldn't I wouldn't agree to do because I wouldn't.
I'm interjecting. The reboot sucked. It was horrible. I hated it. I watched several episodes and could not believe the bullshit they were trying to pull off. I mean, I was just getting over his bullshit. And then I see this. I'm like, this is twice as bad. So that's my opinion. So continue, please.
I wouldn't do the reboot because they didn't want the rest of the team, Steve, David, Sherry. They wanted to cast people around me. And there were some great people. I'm good friends with Brian and Rochelle, who were on the reboot. But I just wouldn't do it without my team, because it was never about me. It was about the team. And I never wanted to put myself up here and have others beneath me. So I wouldn't do the show, and we ended up doing Ghost Nation. And then when the reboot didn't do well, we were asked if we would take Ghost Hunters back. And we sat around as a team, me, Steve, Dave, and Sherry, and all agreed. And so we took it and we started doing it on Travel Channel. So
taking it back.
Yep.
Well, yeah. We wanted to make sure that it went the path that we wanted it to. So
okay, good.
Do you have to believe in ghosts to interact with them?
I don't believe that you need to believe in the paranormal. I think those the most impressive type of activity are those who don't believe in the paranormal and have some sort of experience. So no, I don't think you do. I don't. I'm gonna have if somebody believes in ghosts, that they're going to be more prone to assume that any activity is a ghost.
So yeah, that I think that's where.
But those who don't might, and I hate to say ghost. I like paranormal activity beyond the normal what we're used to.
So yeah, if you believe, yeah, I agree with you. If you believe, if you already have these beliefs that ghosts exist, that places that places can be haunted, then if you go in and you see a shadow down the hallway or hear a strange noise,
it's a ghost.
It's a ghost. Yeah.
You're not looking for the real explanation of what that might be.
If you're not sure, I think there's various. It's a spectrum. So if you're not sure, then you could have some weird experiences, and if you don't say anything, you might just go on with your life. No big deal. If you do say something to like a neighbor or a friend or a family, then you stand the chance of being influenced by what they say. So they could say, well, you might have a ghost. And then therefore that puts that belief in your head
because
the bias.
Their believers are ghosts. So yeah. So now,
now you're going to feel anxious and scared next time you encounter something, some kind of experience.
But that depends on the person. If they're willing to take that person saying, oh, you might have a ghost, and that person's like, oh my God, I might have a ghost. Or, well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about ghosts. Let me look more into it and try to figure it out myself. And that's the kind of people I think that if they have an experience, I'm more willing to really sit back and listen. Like, all right, so you've never believed in hauntings, you've never believed in ghosts, but you had this experience, and this is why you've called us in, because you're trying to understand what's going on. Right. Those are the most interesting. Those are intriguing cases to me.
Yeah. When I see someone like write to me or call and say, I don't believe in ghosts. I had a woman call me. She's like, look, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think they exist. I don't do anything, but I got these strange images on my surveillance cameras, and I'm just trying to find someone that'll take a look at them. And she went through several paranormal groups, and they gave her all kinds, from like angels to fairies, freaking fairies. We know where that came from.
Hey, watch the fairies.
Sorry, the other guy. But then she finally, she's like, I saw you guys online and science whatever, and she called and I talked to her. She sent me the pictures, and I'm like, oh, it was raining that night, right? She's like, yeah. I said, you have rain on the lens of the camera, and there's a spotlight shining on it, and you're getting the light refraction. And she's like, oh, okay. And that was it. Case closed.
But I mean, whether you're able to disprove it or not, just the fact that if it's somebody who's not a firm believer in ghosts.
Right.
It's definitely more interesting and intriguing.
Yes.
When those people reach out to you. So I don't think you need to be a believer to have an experience with the paranormal. It's just more intriguing if you're not.
And when you say paranormal, that's more about like a blanket term.
Because
we're not sure.
Because I hate it when people say, "Oh, this place is haunted," or "This is a ghost." No, I have a problem with that. And the paranormal is a much wider range. It's paranormal, just so beyond the normal of what we're used to. That because that covers a wide range of things,
but
and
it's a perceived.
Yeah,
it's perceived that way. It's not actually. We don't know if it's actually paranormal or not. We perceive it.
And that's why when you're doing an investigation, like you'll hear me say, I believe that you have paranormal activity here. So it's my perception on what the things that have gone on or the things I've documented or whatever. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm not saying you 100% have a paranormal activity or ghost in this house, because I would never do that. That's not who I am, and that's not what I believe. So
okay,
but yes, so.
I don't have experiences. Well, let me rephrase that. Weird things do happen, but usually,
last night,
well, I told you not to put Barry White on. Damn it! High as a kite. No, hey, let's get it on.
Hey,
anyway, but no. Usually, my interactions are just like something weird goes on, and I go out and I'm not directing this to you, but I see a lot of groups. They hear something or see something, and they don't actually go investigate.
Oh yeah, well,
they just sit there and like, oh look, down that hallway, all the way over there.
You know me. If there's a noise, I go to it. I'm not gonna run the other way.
All right,
it's just not my style.
Wendy has a question. What are the top 3 favorite locations you've investigated, and why?
Well, I mean, like I loved St. Augustine Lighthouse, the Stanley Hotel, Waverly Hill. I mean, these are. Especially like Waverly Hills, because it has such an interesting history, being the tuberculosis and so forth. Places like that, or even Gettysburg. I mean, things that have traumatic histories, I think, are some of my favorite investigations, not due to the activity, but due to the history of the location. I love the historical aspects of a location. That's always been the most intriguing to me, and so that's what it's mainly about.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Jason, are UFO people as crazy as Kenny says they are?
You know what? I'm a firm believer. First off, I think we'd be naive to think that we're the only things out there, but I mean, I don't think we'll ever know in our lifetimes, but we would need to get to other galaxies, other solar systems, and so forth. So I'm a firm believer, but then comes this thing where every movie or whatever shows aliens showing up, and they all seem to be the same height as us, the same, where we got to speak English. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we need to remember that something coming from a distant solar system or whatever, it could be 100 times our size, it could be 1,000 times smaller than us. I mean, it's all going to be in comparison to where it's from and so forth, and how genetically it's made up. So I mean, geez, for all we know, there could be aliens flying around us right now, that we can't even see, size of specks of dust. Or we could be a speck of dust on the nail of something that's a trillion times bigger than us.
We're just a marble. We're in the marble.
Exactly. Think about it. I mean, we could be just like a little atom that makes up something else. So who knows? But but I don't think crazy. I think Kenny has some issues.
I might have said it. I'm not going to say I've never said it because I don't know. I might have said it offhand as more of a joke. I don't think people are crazy.
I just think they're a little bit more out there than the other.
I think people experience something, whether it's ghosts, UFOs, monsters, cryptids.
I don't think aliens are coming down and dissecting cows.
No, I absolutely
believe
do not think that's happening.
No, I don't. Either,
but I think people have experienced something, and or they have some kind of strange experience that they're interpreting as something supernatural or beyond normal stuff. And I think there's a lack of information. There's ignorance, not in a bad way. I'm not saying that they're just, ignorant fools. I'm saying that people just lack the knowledge to understand what's happening in front of them. And that's happened. I mean, I've gone through that. It's cool. But the choices that you make once that experience is present is important. Like, do you just call TMZ and say, I got a chupacabra coming and killing all my cows and this and that? Or do you reach out to somebody that's a zoologist or something and say, hey, this happened on my farm. I don't know what killed this animal.
Yeah.
Can you come out and take a look?
Well, the thing, when it comes down to alien life form, if something has the ability to actually get here, then you got to think that when it shows up, we're going to be so primitive compared to that alien life form that has had the ability to get here. We're going to be like monkeys compared to them. Think about it. And it's just, they're going to be so far advanced from us.
So I'm gonna nerd out here and just use a Stargate reference. I remember on one episode that Colonel O'Neill was asked what kind of planetary defenses Earth had against a armada that was coming to take over, and he's like, well, we have a few shuttles. And that was it. And the person he was talking to, which it was an alien, he was like, these shuttles, are they like well defended or well armed? He's like, no. and that's what I think of. Like, yeah, if there is an alien species that can make it here, which is phenomenal in its own right.
Yeah.
If they can overcome all the physics that it takes to get here, and the time constraints and all that, then I don't think they're going to send a flying saucer the size of this room or this house. I don't think that's what you're going to get.
No.
You're going to get a massive armada. You're going to get a population.
Especially seeing that the human species tends to fire first and think, ask questions later. So something shows up, our instant reaction is going to be defend. And at that point, they're going to be like, well, you guys shot first, so have a nice day.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless we get like the Galactica.
Yeah.
If we get the Galactica showing up, then I'm all for it. Don't shoot. Starbuck was hot in the last one. Just putting it out there. All right, next one.
You talking to Katie Sacco?
Yeah.
She's a good friend, man. She was awesome.
Why isn't she here?
She's too cool.
That's true.
What is your take on mediums? Do they have a place in the paranormal field?
I think this is for you.
Oh, is it?
I'm thinking. I can go first.
Everybody
I
knows
don't.
what Kenny's place is.
I don't. Go ahead.
I think to each their own on that. It's not my style. I like to, if I document things, I want it backed up with footage and things like that I can put out there for the world to look at and view. I have a hard time expecting people who are following my investigations to take the word of somebody's feelings or beliefs that something is there that nobody else can see, nobody else can feel, nobody else can touch, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a place for everybody. It's just, that's not what I'm about.
Okay.
So there. Now, Kenny, let loose. Feel free.
I don't put any stock in mediums. I have not met one that could do what they claim to do.
I'm happy they use the word mediums because I feel like when they use the word psychic, they should connect like a 1-900 number to it.
Yeah.
I like the word. Here's the thing. Sensitives. I like the word sensitive because, all right, not that and we can all have different beliefs on this, and that's fine. But I've always looked at it like, if somebody goes to a so-called haunted location, say there's an actual real haunted location, they go to 1,000 so-called haunted locations, and out of that 1,000, 100 of them actually seem to have some sort of activity. There is some people are able to start picking up on that or sensing something's different about how they feel at that location. So now, does that make them a full-blown psychic? No, but it makes them more sensitive than somebody who's never had the chance to go to 1,000 so-called haunted locations and experience 100 of them that might have some sort of activity. So that's my take on it. Now you can run with it and go from there.
I disagree.
And that's fine.
I don't, like I said, I've never met a medium. I've never sat with a medium that attempted to do what they claim to do, and they could actually do it.
There's definitely a lot of
charlatans. So that's my take. Yep. I think there's charlatans. I think there are definitely people that do it deliberately to make profit.
On people for money. Yeah.
I think there's other people. I think the other portion of that do it because they've been convinced by friends and family, either from knowledge that they know. Guess. I mean, this is a whole show by itself.
Or some that want to feel like they're just more special than
they're doing it, and they get reinforced by friends and family. So it sticks. Like, oh, all right, I think I must be because everyone's telling me I am. I've come across many of those, and we've sat and talked, and they've gotten pretty much everything wrong, and what they've gotten close to right was a general kind of, I feel like a mother figure, a female has passed, like that kind of stuff, where it's like, okay, yeah, everyone has had a female pass. When it comes to having them a place in the paranormal field, kind of along the lines like what you were saying, I wouldn't trust what they were saying, because they're coming in and you can say pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can take
anybody in this group have sister, a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, a great-great-grandmother that might have passed.
Well, yeah, I mean, the John Edward thing.
The odds are that somebody in this group has.
My favorite clip was John Edward at a Irish pub doing a reading, and he was just shotgun or machine gunning all these Irish sounding names, and it was like one after another, and he got through like 15, and the guy's still like, nope, you got it wrong, like you failed at an Irish bar, dude. That's horrible. But when it comes to the investigations, no, I would not take anyone on like that, because it's just, I need to verify everything. I need to verify the claims.
Like I was saying. Yeah, I want something documented that I can put out there for people to see.
If you're in a creepy house that's like, let's just say Gothic style, you walk in, you're going to get that vibe that something's weird, something's dark, something's, ooh, it's creepy in here. I can get that. But that's experience from horror movies, not what I'm picking up like I guess in real time. I'm taking contextual cues. That's what they're called.
And I will say, years and years ago, there were some self-proclaimed psychics that were notorious for, oh, I know nothing about this location, I'm going to go in cold, but that was not accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, there was research done prior. There was and that's the thing, you got to be careful, because some of them might be online or going to the library and doing research, and then, so I think you just need to be careful with it all.
Right. And be very careful with what they know before they go in, because like you said, it doesn't take long. Right now, just with the laptop that I have, 5 minutes is all I need to get a whole bunch of historical information about a house. How many people were there, who died, and all this. A couple minutes, that's all I need.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could go into a place and say I'm psychic or a medium, and I'm connecting with whatever I think is there, because I read the records. I know the obituaries, I know who they're related to, and all this stuff. So that was my take. All right, I'm good.
Are you done?
Oh. He's done with Donna's getting impatient.
Done with his rant.
Moving on. Do you have to die in a place to haunt it? Asked Jim.
That's a tough one. because I'm under the belief that, when it comes down to certain things, that like traumatic experiences or whatever can just create activity in a location, but you can still be alive from it. So, and now whether that's psychological or not, I can't say, but I don't think you have to die. Like, I don't think that a place has to have somebody that died there to have activity. So
I would think that if there's a lot of folklore and group thing, kind of tribal knowledge when it comes to this, because they're beliefs, and they're not even, I wouldn't say these are any kind of religious beliefs. These are adopted beliefs, because when you talk about why ghosts stay around.
Yeah, but I've looked at hauntings, like you have so-called intelligent type or residual type or whatever. Poltergeist, not like the movie. But
The movie
and
was good. The original, not the remake.
No, the remake sucked. But so like if it's an intelligent haunt, it doesn't have to. I wouldn't think it would have to hang around. I mean, it could go anywhere it wanted to. So that I don't believe in that aspect. Like, I died here, so I'm stuck here, or I died here and I'm stuck in these clothes for the rest of my. It just, that's not the way I've ever looked at it.
I think that's what confuses me sometimes when you think about all of the descriptions of why ghosts stay. Yeah, you can have what's called and these are not new. I want to make sure you understand this, like intelligent haunting and hauntings that are recorded on the environmental hauntings. This is stuff back from the 60s and 70s and probably earlier than that. These titles go, but they are developed ideas, because it's like, all right, a ghost can stay here because it died here. That's a common idea. A ghost can stay here because it had a traumatic experience.
Well, I think can and is stuck are two different things. If it can, I mean, it can go anywhere, but if it, some people are saying that it's stuck. See, like, things that intrigue me are like claims of when I get a claim, somebody's like, well, you're not going to believe this, but I saw something walk through this area, which is a wall. And you're like, all right, well, and you start looking into things. And then if you're able to go down to town hall or whatever and get old drawings of the house, and you realize, well, this actually used to be a doorway, 100 years ago or whatever. And then they closed that off and they put the doorway here. Things like that intrigue me, because it's like, well, they saw something walk through this area of the wall, but 100 years ago, this was an actual door. So then your mind starts running. You're like, wow, that's, and the homeowner didn't know it. They weren't able to get the original blueprints and so forth. So things like that, you're like, all right, well, is that, if it's an intelligent, well, then you'd think that it would just go to the new doorway. But if it's a residual, then it's like following the same path. So, things like that are intriguing and kind of mind boggling on some cases.
I laughed. I wasn't laughing at you.
No, I
but
didn't.
It was funny the way you said that. It was like, if there's a new door, you would think if it was intelligent, it would use a new door. Yeah, my first thought was
walking a wall.
It's a dumb ghost.
It's
not an intelligent ghost. It's a dumb one, because it doesn't know where the door is.
Exactly. So so things like that intrigue me. It's like, wow, they claim to see something walk through the wall here, but looking at the old blueprints, you realize, well, that was an actual doorway at one point. But a lot of times you can't even tell. I mean, the way they've done it throughout the years. So I don't think anything has to die in a place to haunt it. I think comes down to the short answer on that really long response.
It was. You talk a lot.
At least I make sense though.
Oh, you think so?
I don't know. Who knows?
I'm glad you understand yourself. Nobody else.
I do. I just you could only listen to 3 albums for the rest of your life. Which ones would it be? Which one? Oh, go ahead, Donna. I'm sorry. I'm stealing the job.
No, that's okay, guys. If you had to listen to 3 albums for the
piss
rest
off
of
the
your
producer.
life,
I wouldn't listen to any albums if I had to listen. I'd plug my ears. For the rest of my life, who the hell wants to listen to
over and over again?
Crap over and over again?
Yeah.
But I'd probably stick with some older Iron Maiden and stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, there
I
you
have
go.
a variety, I think.
Question wasn't for you, Donna.
I know.
Yeah, Donna.
Kenny, do you have any responses to that?
Oh, I would probably, I mean, if I had to, and this is if I had to, probably would listen to like the soundtrack of Grease.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
love
Yeah.
Grease. Rock of Ages.
Yeah, but I think it's just
Yeah, but
played
see,
so
you're-
much.
It's a
you're picking-
variety.
yeah,
It's an
you're
al-
picking a
3
variety.
albums.
Yeah,
Albums. That's an
yeah.
album or
I
CD.
don't- Yeah, okay, whatever.
Hey, I'm taking the question.
Yeah. Well, does
As
the
as
album
it's
actually
written.
fall under soundtrack though?
I know.
It's an album.
right?
Well,
What's an album?
I don't know.
Vinyl.
I'm asking you a question. You don't have to
I'm
get all
telling you, I'm
hostile.
telling you.
Jesus.
I know he's
Be an
picking all
asshole.
the ones that have multiple.
That's right. It's still all.
singers in
It's still an album. That's it too for now.
the- All right, let's move on.
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you ever use equipment that measures for gas, electric conductivity, magnets, radiation, water movement, or various radio waves that could possibly affect people, places, or parapsychological occurrences? Got anything? Anyone?
I do carry a carbon monoxide
Oh yeah.
detector. I do carry that with me, and I put that out. If
Those
I
are
suspect it,
important. I mean,
yeah,
those. We always.
I
make
put it
sure
out
that goes
for
out there.
yeah. As soon as I
For your
get there,
Also
I
for
put
the
that out.
family's safety.
Yeah.
Too, when
Yeah.
you go into some of these places.
Yeah. Because that can cause. That's something I learned from Carrie, Poppy from
Right,
Ono Ross
right.
and Carrie, because she went through that where she was coming back to her, I think her apartment,
Yeah.
Massive
and she was
headaches and
close.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
but hallucinations where
Mhm.
she thought she was living in a haunted place, and then she got it checked out and realized like if she had waited one more day, she probably would not have woken up. So definitely
Well,
something.
yeah,
I
and you
take
got
with
you
me.
gotta also check it. I mean, we dealt with cases in the past where a guy's vent system was pulling from the garage, and it was right near a
God.
table.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's where but it didn't used to be a garage. They added the garage.
Oh, okay.
So,
Alright, yeah.
but I mean, in the garage right there, he was using all the brake cleaner, and it was all right there on the table. So, I mean,
Wow.
those things can affect you. So, you need to be looking for stuff like that. So,
Right.
yeah.
It really depends, I think, on the claims that are being
each
made.
investigation, I think, is
You know,
different.
like
Yeah.
you don't need to look at all this stuff if there's no indication that you do need to look at this kind of stuff. It really based on the claims that are being made.
But I mean, even beyond that stuff, honestly, when you're going into somebody's home, you need to, when they're calling you into their home to try to solve a problem, you need to look into everything. And I mean, right down to the medication they're on, the things they're taking. Are they mixing things? And I think those all come into play as well, because that can adjust the psychological, or, there's cases where people are mixing different prescriptions, creating hallucinogens or other psychological issues that come out of it.
Right. Medical issues are a big deal. I mean, we briefly talked about it, UTIs, because I have a friend at work that, and this was an article that I wrote. His mother was experiencing like vivid hallucinations where she was seeing everything from family members that had died 20 years prior, to people that just didn't exist at all. And found out that he came up to me because I was the guy at work that he knew did this kind of stuff. So he's like, what do you think I should check? And I asked about age. She's very elderly. And I was like, well, the only thing that that comes to mind right away is a UTI. You might want to get it checked out, just to make sure, because hallucinations fall under that as one of the symptoms. And sure enough, the next day they went to the doctor, and that was what it was. She had medication. Within like a day or so, it cleared up. No more hallucinations. So yeah, this stuff, it really depends on the claims.
We were actually talking the other day about people who actually had cysts that they didn't realize that they were running high fevers, and having all these other issues as well. So there's a lot of factors that come into play.
All right, how are we doing with questions?
We have a few left.
Okay.
I'm kind of slowing down on taking them, so.
Okay. So we are coming to the close. We only got a few minutes left. So if we didn't get to your question, I apologize. But there were so many people here. That was awesome. It was great.
So when Zach gets possessed on his show, is that dark energy?
That is bullshit to the extreme.
Everybody drink.
That was dark energy. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm just jumping right in and just saying, yeah, I know this is probably more of a fun question
It is.
from Redman, but yeah, there's nothing dark about it. There's no energy about it. There's just overacting. Like, honestly, I think he's the Jim Carrey of the paranormal.
I can't comment. I've never seen any episodes of it, so
Lucky
You don't
for
have
you.
to. It really is. It's not
I'll
worth
drink
it.
anyways.
If studies have shown that humans can express our energies externally of our bodies, could wishful thinking be at play in some aspects of your investigations?
I think it already is.
Like,
because
in other words, people manifesting things themselves?
I don't think they are actually physically manifesting.
No, but I mean
anything.
psychologically or whatever.
That's
yeah.
more. I think when you go in there, when you are I'm going to use the term ghost hunter, going into a place that you already are convinced that it's haunted.
Well, that's the problem. If you're
Yeah.
going in convinced that the
Yeah.
place is haunted,
You
you're
have
already
that, yeah. And you're telling everyone on social media, you know, I'm going to get all this evidence. I can't wait. This is such a great spot. You have that wishful thinking going in.
But I also look at it like where, talking about expressing energies externally, like there's some people that walk into a room and it's like they brighten up the room just coming in. Let's be honest.
That's me. That's totally me.
There's some people who
totally me.
No, but so I believe that maybe that can create some things at play during investigate or just in general. I mean, there's just those people who come in, you're like, they show up and you're like, well, it just seems like a brighter day because they're there. So I think it could. Totally. Thank you, Kat.
All right. Thanks, Kat.
Okay.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
We're almost there. Oh.
If any cryptoid was real, which one would you want to be real?
I'm thinking you meant cryptid. Cryptid, yeah. What monster would you want to be real?
Which monster would I want to be real?
I want to see a Bigfoot.
I want to see Bigfoot riding Loch Ness.
There you go.
A t-shirt. I love that.
Jeez. Well, I mean, the Mothman would be kind of cool.
Mothman
Well,
would be cool.
No, I don't. I disagree because he brings disaster.
I don't want to fly in.
I mean, aren't we pretty much there?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So,
you're right.
Yeah, the Mothman. Well, I don't know. Then again, it's death from above, and I really don't want that. I don't want to have to be looking up all day long. But
we have enough trouble looking sideways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time looking up at the TV.
And that's how our vision is.
I know. No.
Looking up, we don't do that.
You see people with their phones, like.
I guess Chupacabra would be cool because it's not us; it's goats that are getting the shit.
The original version, not the mange dogs and stuff like that, but the original alien looking thing with spikes and all that shit. That would be cool. I would like that. I'm all for Daryl. Bigfoot Daryl. Yeah.
I like Bigfoot.
I think that.
Not that it was for me.
I think it would be just. I want one.
I want
like a Harry and the Hendersons type thing?
Yeah, like I want to sit on the couch and just have like my 8 foot, 9 foot tall Daryl.
Teddy bear.
Just come down and be like, it'd be my Chewy. Co-pilot.
It would have to stink.
Carolyn likes unicorns.
It smells so bad.
I might have
Probably
to agree
does.
with unicorns. That's kind of cool.
It's all matted and hair and shit.
Yeah,
like that.
Yes, you braid it.
How do they poop? Like there's no bare spot.
Dingleberries.
Okay. Will you, Jason, ever do another Ghost Hunters Academy?
Maybe. I mean, the possibility's there. It's we had a lot of fun doing it. I mean, I have no problem with it. It was interesting. I mean, that's how we got Adam Berry, was through Ghost Hunters Academy. So that had a good time with it.
Okay.
All right. What else we got?
Okay.
Burn into the question.
Burn through. Get them through.
Kenny, now that you have settled into your dream job, how does it feel?
Freaking awesome. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm doing so many projects that I can't talk about them all, but it's just I have a lot of freedom to do what I want to do, and what I want to do falls in line with what like CSI wants to do, and it's just nice. It's a beautiful mesh of things I've done for the last couple of years, and then things that they just let me go with, like they.
I think you're more at peace now, though, too, man. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
With all the years I've known you, you're more at peace now than I think you've ever really been.
This is where I belong. I'm finally doing what I know I can do. I'm confident in my work. Like I mean, I can
only get you to relax.
I know. Well, I am relaxing. This is relaxing. Look, Friday night on vacation.
This is the end of the week.
It's
the best we get.
Friday night, and I'm on vacation, and still here I am doing this because this is what I love to do. I know. This is Friday it's actually really good.
I'm here doing this.
Too. You're doing this too.
Me too, Jason.
Yeah.
Me too.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question.
We have one more question from Redman.
Oh, good.
Why do so many people think ghosts haunt places where something bad has happened? ? I'm going to haunt Disney World. It's too expensive to go there while I'm alive.
Yeah, honestly, I think people think ghosts haunt because it's a place where traumatic things happen, and all of a sudden they feel like, oh my God, well something has to be here because all this bad stuff happened, and that's not always the fact.
I think it goes back to that tribal knowledge thing. It's that that's a common belief that a traumatic event can cause someone to stay behind. And I think it's just ingrained in our pop culture. So, and so many Hollywood movies and TV and stuff have gone on that trope that where they're like,
well, and that's the thing. That's the problem with Hollywood is Hollywood makes everything about ghosts and hauntings terrifying. And I hate that because I've always looked at the paranormal as intriguing. And it's like I'm trying to put pieces of a puzzle together to try to see what the picture is. And it doesn't have to be terrifying. And that them making everything terrifying is what leads to so many people being terrified of their home when they don't need to be.
Right. That's a good point. That's a really good point because we as people will tend to remember the horror stories. Like if something weird happens in our house, if we're home. So here's a good example. If we are sitting here and say you're home by yourself and you're watching a movie and you're watching, I don't know, like a Disney movie that's all nice and happy ending and all that. It's cool. It's over. You turn out the lights, you go to bed. You don't think of nothing of it. You watch a scary ass haunt or horror movie. You turn the lights out.
Every sound you
look up the steps and you're like,
"There's a serial killer in your back room.
They're waiting for me."
In the attic. Yeah.
You keep the nightlight on. The bat goes closer to the bed.
I understand.
Now it's got. But that's
all the lights are on.
That's the kind of mentality that happens, and I mean we all do it. It's not like I'm trying to single anyone out. It's just the nature of it, So likewise, when bad things happen, when there's a murder or something like that, it's automatically assumed, oh, it's probably
it's ingrained in us.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Cool.
There's one more question.
All right, good. We're at the end.
Will you be writing a new book?
Yeah, very possibly. I've been tossing around the idea. I've written 6 books. Like 3 or 4 have been New York Times bestsellers, and I think very possibly I might write some new stuff in the near future.
I want to write the forward. Just
yeah,
a couple words.
If you're asked,
I am Kenny Biddle.
Yeah, I am Kenny Biddle.
That's it. Good luck.
That's the word. Yeah. You probably won't even do the forward. It'll just be I'm Kenny Biddle. So that's
it. All right. Are we good then? We got all the questions done? Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Love you guys.
So with that, I mean, we're a couple minutes over, but that's cool. I don't mind. I'm not going to get into all the announcements that I usually do because there's a bunch of stuff, and we're on vacation and it's Friday night, and I don't want to keep these people any longer than I have to. So with that, let me get over here to where I'm supposed to be. I appreciate everyone coming out. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday night. I mean, you didn't have to, but you chose to, which is awesome. Sorry. Almost did it wrong. Almost. I screwed that one up. So I guess that's it. People want to know more about you or get in touch with you. Is there any way to get just nobody contact me.
They can follow me online. They can go to the Atlantic Paranormal Society.com. I mean,
okay.
Bunch of ways.
Yeah.
I'm pretty easily accessible.
Oh, he is. And for only $29.95, I'll send you his address. No, kidding. I won't do that. Not at all.
I'm not one of those people who hide behind anything. It's you can find me online. No problem.
Yeah, he doesn't hide. He's right out there. Like short shorts. He was wearing a Speedo earlier. I mean, it was
actually we would call it banana. It's a banana.
So. It was I'm traumatized.
I didn't realize I had it on backwards.
Well, you know, when I die, this is where I'll be haunting, right here. And all you're going to see is like me curled up, like, my eyes. That's all you're going to hear. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be safe and never stop learning. And I'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.